What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first of 4 final Destiny 2 videos for the time being before the release of Call of Duty World War II. Unfortunately for the Destiny fans out there, because of a special giveaway I'll be running for Call of Duty World War II, I'll be posting daily through November and December Call of Duty exclusive content. So even though there will be a new DLC for Destiny sometime in December, I won't be discussing that until January, and I'll be basically postponing all of my Destiny series to focus on Call of Duty World War II. I love Destiny, but the game is really stale at this point. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I can continue doing exotic weapon reviews like today's video and other kind of similar videos, but for the most part, there isn't news and updates to talk about for Destiny 2. And when Call of Duty comes out, I'll be doing weapon reviews for every single weapon. That'll take up a full month easy, plus all of my off topics. I will be back to Destiny 2 in the future, but for now, just because of that giveaway, which you can learn a little bit more about in the description down below, I've linked my Patreon. There is a public post. You don't have to be subscribed on Patreon to read that one. But if you want to know a little bit more about that Astro giveaway I'll be doing through November, December, that will be linked in the description down below. And that's for Call of Duty World War II content only. I may post secondary videos if I have the time through November, December for Destiny 2, especially when the DLC comes out. I might make time for that, but I will be definitely posting daily World War II for the next 2 months. So just be aware of that if you are a Destiny fan and a Destiny exclusive fan on BlackTideTV. But in today's video, we're looking at the MIDA Multi-Tool and the MIDA Mini-Tool, because this is another one of those exotics that comes with its own legendary sidekick. And of course, that also means that the MIDA Multi-Tool cannot be unlocked very easily. You can't just find this one in an exotic engram. There's a quest, and there's a fairly extensive quest to unlock MIDA Multi-Tool. This is one of those ones where you have to complete the entire campaign, and once you've completed the campaign and you go back to certain planets, there's a little blue banner, and if you go to that banner, it starts a new quest line. The MIDA Multi-Tool starts on Earth in the EDZ. So you go to the EDZ. I think you have to go to, maybe you have to talk to Devrim K. It's been a while since I've done the quest, but I believe it's somewhere in Trostland, and you start this quest. It's a fairly simple quest on Earth, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to take you past Trostland in the other direction from where you would normally go to patrol the EDZ. It's going to take you back into like the back quarter of the map on Earth, this part that is never ever used for anything else apart from, I think, the strike, the PlayStation exclusive strike takes place there as well. But you're going to go back there and you're going to do a couple quests, and they're not difficult by any means. You can easily do them. They'll be scaled to your level, whatever your level is at the time. I think they only scale up to 240 max. So it's pretty easy. You shouldn't find any difficulty in completing the first part of the MIDA Multi-Tool quest. It's probably the easiest of any of the planets. I think Io is actually the most difficult, considering it's Io and you don't even get an exotic item from it, but that's besides the point. You'll easily be able to finish that quest and move on to the second step, at which point I believe you'll go to talk to Devrim K again, and that this time he'll give you the MIDA Mini-Tool, if I'm not missing a step. So you'll get the MIDA Mini-Tool. That's a secondary weapon, an energy SMG. I believe it's base solar, but I could be wrong there. Mine is solar. Mine has always been solar. I don't know if it drops in different elements for different people, but you can change it. It's just a legendary, so you can change whatever element you want it to be. I prefer solar. The MIDA Mini-Tool, he just gives that weapon to you, and then you're supposed to do a couple other quests by first going to Banshee in the tower. When you bring the MIDA Mini-Tool to Banshee in the tower, he'll be like, "Ooh, I've heard of another MIDA weapon before. If you can get me some weapon telemetry, I'll make you another weapon." The MIDA Mini-Tool, or MIDA Multi-Tool, I should say. So you take the MIDA Mini-Tool, and you go and do a bunch of stuff with it. First, I think you need to use a scout rifle, and you have to get like so many precision kills, and you have to get so many kills without reloading while using a scout rifle in any activity. Easiest to do it in patrols or in like public events, stuff like that. You'll be able to get that one done pretty quickly. After that, he's going to ask you to dismantle 5 rare or better scout rifles. This is where it gets a little tricky, because I'll tell you right now, if you're looking for the MIDA Multi-Tool, that's such an alliteration, I'm going to get that wrong so many times in this video. If you're looking to unlock the MIDA Multi-Tool, you should be saving your scout rifles right away. Throughout the campaign, if you pick up any rare or legendary scout rifles that you aren't going to use, save those in your inventory, because you do have to dismantle 5 of those to get past this quest step, and that can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. If you've been deleting all of your weapons the entire way through the game, you finally get to this quest step and it's like, oh yeah, go find 5 scout rifles and dismantle them all. Well, scout rifles don't just drop out of thin air, so you're going to have to go and grind public events, grind everything looking for scout rifle rewards, and you might not get them. So that's the hardest part of this quest. You're going to have to save up your scout rifles, rare or better. So rare, legendary, exotic. Although there are only 2 exotic scout rifles, and I don't think you want to dismantle either one of them. So rares and legendaries. Once you do that, you're going to bring that back to Banshee, and then he's going to say, okay, now go get airborne SMG kills. This is a really weird one. Basically use MIDA Multi-Tool and play in public events. I found it most easy in public events, and just jump up in the air before you get the kill. This is obviously really easy with Warlock. If you have like the certain abilities or certain armor pieces that let you float while you're fighting, it's the best for Warlock. So if you have a Warlock, just give this to them and let them do it. Get the MIDA Multi-Tool, MIDA Multi-Tool on your Warlock first. But I mean, if you're using your other characters, it's not too difficult. You just have to jump up in the air, weaken them first, jump up in the air, and then shoot them with the SMG, and that will count as a kill. I think you need 30 of those, and then you bring it back, and then he gives you the MIDA Multi-Tool. It's an extensive quest. It takes a long time. But is it worth it? Well, yes, of course it's worth it. A lot of people refer to MIDA Multi-Tool as the MIDA Multi-Tool, I've heard, because it's so powerful in Crucible. It's a really good weapon. It's probably in the top 5 weapons of the entire game. You're going to see it a disgusting amount in Crucible. If you've played Crucible in any capacity, you're probably like, yeah, it's the MIDA Multi-Tool, I know. It's like the best gun in the game. It's one of the best guns in the game for sure. I don't think it's an aggressive weapon. I would say that it's a very passive weapon in its nature. You can't use this weapon and rush in, especially in Crucible. You have to take your time with this weapon. You have to be very careful with this weapon and engage enemies at medium to long range. A lot of players have been getting more and more aggressive with Crucible as the game progresses, as the game has been out. More people are switching to auto rifles and other things like sidearms, and they are rushing in. They're getting right in your face. They're meleeing you. They are shooting you with their fully automatic weapons, and this weapon cannot compete with that. The MIDA Multi-Tool is best if you're running with a squad and you know maps and you know spawns and you know where the enemies are coming from. It's the best when you're playing with a tactical playstyle. And the perks definitely help with that, or the one special trait will help with that, but the other traits for this weapon and even MIDA Multi-Tool aren't anything special. They don't really do anything for you in the long run. For example, looking at MIDA Multi-Tool, its intrinsic trait is the lightweight frame. Superb handling, move faster with this weapon equipped. So you just move a little bit faster when you're using MIDA Multi-Tool. MIDA Synergy is the other trait, and that will grant speed benefits when MIDA Multi-Tool is also equipped. Like Sturm and Drang, you're going to want to use these two weapons together. MIDA Multi-Tool has the MIDA Multi-Tool intrinsic. I think they forgot to name this one something different, but the MIDA Multi-Tool intrinsic basically grants increased movement speed. So you move a little bit faster with MIDA Multi-Tool equipped. Doesn't that sound similar to MIDA Multi-Tool when you equip that one and you move a little bit faster? And then you've got the MIDA Radar. This is the good trait for MIDA Multi-Tool. Radar stays active while aiming down sights. Exactly the same as Knucklehead Radar, that exotic headpiece for the hunter. So if you're using Knucklehead Radar, you don't need to use MIDA Multi-Tool. You can use any other scout rifle, any other weapon, you'll have the same benefit. So why do so many people like MIDA when it doesn't even do anything? It's just a regular scout rifle with a radar that stays active, and even when you're using these two weapons together, you only have speed boost. You move a little bit faster, and I can tell you right now that that increased movement speed, if you're a hunter and you have high mobility, you won't even notice it at all. Like, it might move you a little bit faster, but realistically, it's not going to make a difference at all. Like, I'll use MIDA Multi-Tool, MIDA Mini-Tool, and a Hunter with increased mobility, and I'll have somebody that has 0 mobility and none of those weapons running next to me. They'll still be able to keep up. It's just that they'll be a little bit behind me. That's all the difference that there is. All this movement speed nonsense, it doesn't make a difference. But MIDA Multi-Tool, just the weapon itself, is so powerful. It's very accurate. It has a very fast reload speed. You can fire it very quickly. This is a 200 rounds per minute scout rifle, the fastest firing scout rifle in the game. So you can pretty much spam this one if you have a good trigger finger. You don't even really have to have a good trigger finger because it will stop you. You can't fire this weapon incredibly fast. It's not like a Call of Duty weapon that you can just spam off. But even a decent trigger finger, you can fire this weapon at 200 rounds per minute easy, and you can just spray off shots and you can drop people. If you're very accurate, if you're hitting headshots, you're going to end people's lives very, very quickly. And I do like using MIDA Multi-Tool and MIDA Mini-Tool together because you can kind of engage enemies from a distance and at medium range with MIDA Multi-Tool, and then if they get too close, if they approach you, you can just quickly swap to MIDA Mini-Tool, like jump up in the air and just hose them down because that weapon is very accurate in hip fire. MIDA Multi-Tool, on the other hand, isn't the most accurate in hip fire in the world. It is a scout rifle after all, but just keep that in mind. It's not the greatest if you are going to engage enemies in close range. Always swap to your secondary, and I would advise that you use, if you're not going to use MIDA Mini-Tool, which is like the #1 thing that I would advise you use, if you're using another secondary, it would have to be a sidearm, like a fully automatic or a 3-round burst sidearm, or another SMG. Like there's no other option there. You want to use something very fast firing, something very effective in close range in your secondary slot. But MIDA Multi-Tool, MIDA Mini-Tool, the thing that gets me about these weapons is that they're supposed to be the Swiss Army knife of firearms. Like, if you look at the description, like MIDA Multi-Tool, select application, ballistic engagement, entrenching tool, avionics trawl, troll smasher, stellar sextant, list continues. It's supposed to be the Swiss Army knife gun, but the only thing it does is increase your movement speed. I find the traits to be lacking. I find them incredibly underwhelming. But the weapon itself is super sound, and you won't be upset with using MIDA Multi-Tool. It is the #1 weapon that I can guarantee you should go for after you complete campaign by doing those campaign quests. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and check out that giveaway that I'll be talking about in a few days in the description down below. You can see some more information on that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.